Welcome to channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the little bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one of getting all the insight. Now today's video, I would like to take you into a news which is not generated from Australia itself. It's actually coming from Canada. Now the reason why that we are looking into this news because obviously we in the world of immigrations, there are some countries, they are big players, and obviously their policies and their news will somehow affect all the other immigration nations. So it's actually very important and very interesting topic to actually talk about. Now, if you have been following what happened in Canada, probably this is not a news anymore. It's actually a couple of days ago, but I think it's actually very important because we are actually in a world of pandemic era, whereby a lot of visa has been delayed. Have you been experiencing delay on your EOI, on your visa application, or whatever it is? Yes, of course. I think 99% of people had actually experienced this, and due to the virus, and also some of the multinational conflicts and crises and going on, which will all affect the policy of immigration. So anyway, let's jump in there and have a look what's actually came out from Canada. So this is actually from CIC News, the voice of Canadian immigration. Now you may want to Google this on the topic of Canada's immigration backlog, over 1.8 million applications, and which is only just couple weeks ago. So this is fairly recent. Now 1.8, that is humongous and that is crazy. Now obviously we probably had heard news that the prime minister of Canada had coined the idea of 3 million migrants required. However, Canada is sort of the country that well, should we say that their immigration policy is not steady? Well, I'm not in a position to comment because I'm not a specialist for the Canadians' visa law and regulations, but this actually points out information that does Australia actually experience the same thing? I think they do. And look at that here, the most important, the most discussed topic is actually on the permanent resident backlog grant total, which includes economic class, family class, humanitarian, permit holder, and protected persons of 500,000 of it. That's wow, that's in kind of almost 1/3 of what that 1.8 mil. That is actually very crazy. Now, what is the cause of this? I think the virus is actually one of the issue, but let's have read what's actually happened there, and perhaps that could actually point us into a direction where we are, and we will take a look what is the current processing time for all the visas in Australia as well. So IRCC, which is the equivalent Department of Immigration for Australia, has more than 1.8 million applications in queue, according to the data from December 2021. So the news obtained the data visa request from the IRCC. The backlog includes future citizen, PR, international student, temporary workers, and visitors. So I've been receiving frequently, or not frequent, but periodically, occasionally, should I say, that fans from YouTube or Facebook had commented that why not go to Australia, why not go to Canada, and a lot of people has been comparing Canada with Australia. Obviously they are the biggest competitor for the immigration industry, and also obviously for the international education industry as well. So in compare which nation's policy is actually easier, more accessible, and you can actually go there, and so on and so forth. So from my side, obviously I'm specialized in the Australian regulation and law, but I'm not specialized in Canada. Perhaps if in our channel, if you do have any information about Canada, you can share more information with us. But this information been passing around, I think it's very interesting, in compared to whether migrate to Canada versus migrate to Australia. I think in this pandemic era, migration is actually very hard, not on the criteria itself, but for the timing, because the nation, under its constitution, for the interest of the nation, they should do whatever they can to actually protect the citizen of that nation. So obviously they don't want viruses to go around, but obviously for the current Omicron variant, it's not as deadly as the previous variant, but it's when it infected the elderly, it still caused a lot of death as well, as you can see. So adding up this category bring a total backlog 1,813,144 applications in December. In October, IRCC reported backlog of 1.79 million. So did that actually work during from October to December? I think they did, but a lot of application has been put on pause. Now, I'm not too familiar with the Canadian law, but I do know as a country of Canada, it does periodically. I mean, I don't know the window of years, but they do pick out numbers of application, and they basically just abolish them. For example, they were 20,000 whatnot for the federal investment visa type for Canada, which were basically being taken out and abolished and put it into trash bin. Or if you can search that information, it was probably last year's news or the year before. So they do that. Now, fortunately, Australia, they had done it once, but that was probably 20 years ago. They don't likely to do that, because with the reform of the skill migration, it's invitation based, so they don't accept applications based on its merit, and they unlimited accept applications. So it's based on invitation based. So Australia doesn't have that sort of issue, and without the invitation base, and that's the problem. They are accumulating up to 1.8 million applications unresolved. Okay, for most of the category except citizen, the new data reflects the IRCC inventory of December 15, 2021. So that was the permanent PR backlog, and plus the TR backlog. Now, I did receive some information from the Immigration of Australia that numbers of the citizenship ceremony had been postponed and cancelled and postponed due to the current Omicron outbreak. So that's what's happening. I think the virus is actually changing the world and also affecting a lot of things. But I do see that there's a very good opportunity coming up. Obviously, we need to wait for the virus to be resolved. So, and this is the temporary resident backlog. So, 819,000. As October 30th, 2021, there were about 468,000 citizenship application in inventory, which is the same figure IRCC provided October 27th data. So, as December, the express entry, which is sort of like I think it's more for visa backlog, was more than 119,000. Again, you can see that the two nations' immigration system is different. Australia is more on invitation based, and they require application of travel exemptions, and also they close down the ETA as well. But looks like the nation of Canada did not do that, so they continue to accept applications whilst the pandemic continues, and that caused a lot of backlog delay and that will cause a lot of administrative issue further onwards. The differences are largely seen. Canadian Express class application was down nearly 25,000, more than 48,000 in October. Federal skilled trade backlog went down 805 in December Q compared to 931 in October. Although that Q came down, but obviously came down probably due to the virus as well. The interest of people wanted to actually migrate from those category might have dropped. Federal skilled worker program backlog increased 50,000 in December, where it was 51. So in overall, it's actually the backlog issue has becoming more of the issue that I don't think they can actually. I'm not too sure how they can get rid of all this. Look at this. This is crazy. Huge number. 234,770, and the family 105. Humanitarian 27,000, permanent holder class backlog 24, protected person 157,658. So it's again, the news actually came passed by for all the immigration industry. So I wanted to share with you on this channel in regards to what's happening over the other side of the world, where Canada have 1.8 application backlog. And let's look at what's happening in Australia. Now, I want to show you this webpage actually. What you do is you go to Google and you punch in Home Affairs in one word and space processing time and add a global processing time at the beginning. Okay, so you probably will land yourself in this web page. Now, this web page created by the Immigration of Australia is actually very useful. As we actually scroll down, we can see a search bar here, which is very good because all you need to do is, for example, you punch in 500, which is the student visa. It will straight away show you all the student visas current processing time. So 25% processing 28 days. There are 90%, some of them being delayed up to, I'm not too sure how this will go, 18 months. Oh my goodness. And some is 16 months. This actually will cause a lot of problem there. But that's what we see here. So we don't have the actual total number of backlog currently being posted for Australia, but there's certainly some delay, a backlog going on. So if we go on 491, here we go. Family stream is delay more, and the other one is actually quite good. But the problem is, how do you get invited? The problem, a lot of people being delayed in EOI. Now, can you find an EOI? How long you've been waiting for? I don't think so. It's no category called EOI here. 494. Let's have a look. It's quite reasonable. 40 day to about 6 months. That's quite reasonable. What about 188? That's the business innovation visa. Now it's a huge backlog here. I think it's due to it is not a very mandatory visa type that it's actually helped the economy currently, but I think this will ultimately be improved in the coming month or two. What else? Let's have a look. 600 visa, that's the travel visa. It's, look at this, 13 months. You don't want to wait for 13 months to actually travel. The problem is obviously additional information. I think it's Australia website, immigration website, is actually doing very good because it does have those additional information due to COVID-19. Some visa processing time are being affected and things like that. So it's actually giving you a lot of information here. Here we go, 482. Well, it's still 11 months or things like that. It's actually quite long time. I got clients still waiting on this one as well. But look at this, you don't want to wait for a job and work for a year almost. What else? Let's let's punching whatever they what about 870? Okay, still look at this. It's a huge backlog here, sponsorship. But anyway, the reason the thing that I wanted to share with you in this video is obviously a web page called Global Processing Time of the Immigration of Australia, which you get access online publicly to actually help you to actually find out what the visa processing time is actually. It's one of the things that has been done pretty well and better in compared to how the Canadians immigration IRCC had done with 1.8 million backlog. So the truth is the pandemic is still continuing. Hopefully, with this Omicron variant, we are moving from pandemic to an endemic. So everything will go back to normal and processing time will be quicker. Anyhow, should you have more questions, query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below. And I'll see you next video. Goodbye.